Wednesday, November 23rd, a holiday hiatus, the Trump transition team taking a Thanksgiving break, as rumors swirl about a brand new position for South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. We are live in Washington.
And tricky travel, the holiday rush already on, and a wicked storm making the Thanksgiving trek a mess for millions of Americans. Janice Dean is tracking the forecast.
And happy holidays, courtesy of Starbucks, the sneaky price hike that the coffee chain was hoping to slip by you. Fox and Friends First starts right now.
And we'll have more on those stories in just a moment. But first, a Fox News alert for you. Police officers under attack. Another one, a fifth, shot in just 3 days.
Yeah, this time a Wayne State University officer in Detroit shot in the head. In fear of copycat attacks now filtering through law enforcement across the country.
Jackie Ibanez is here now with some brand new developments for us this morning. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Heather and Clayton. Yet another horrific and disturbing reminder of how dangerous it is to protect our streets. Wayne State University K-9 officer Colin Rose, you see him there, now out of a potentially life-saving surgery this morning. The 29-year-old clinging to life after being shot in the head just a few blocks away from the Detroit campus. A person of interest, D'Angelo Davis, taken into custody just before 10 o'clock last night, ending a 3-hour manhunt, we're told. Wayne State Police now working closely with the Detroit Police Department, saying Officer Rose was investigating a string of car robberies. They say minutes before the shooting, he radioed in to report a man in the street. His shooting sending shockwaves throughout the entire city right now.
He is a tremendous officer, very young, very proactive, one of the best K-9 officers, I think, anywhere in the Midwest or the country.
Last night's shooting coming after a string of very similar attacks, one in Sanibel, Florida, one in Gladstone, Missouri, a deadly ambush on a veteran detective in San Antonio, followed by a horrific attack on a sergeant in St. Louis. Police departments across the country now on alert for copycat shooters as the number of deadly police ambushes reaches a decade high of 20.
Look at the environment, not just here, but across this country. We had 4 officers ambushed over the weekend. This needs to stop. I really believe that a lot of what's fueling these attacks on police officers is some of the anti-police rhetoric.
Right now, as we speak, Officer Rose is in critical condition, but stable, and we will, of course, continue to monitor this story to bring you the very latest details as they come here to Fox News. Clayton,
yeah,
Heather.
Continue to pray for him and his family as well. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jackie. Well, to another alert now. The NYPD deploying 3,000 officers to the Thanksgiving Day parade amid growing fears of a terror attack. Listen to this. In an unprecedented move, the force's entire counterterrorism unit will be working on Thanksgiving, so no holiday for them. Every cross street on the parade route will be shut down, barricaded with sand trucks. Bomb-sniffing dogs also out on patrol. All this started because of that ISIS magazine recently published a picture of the Thanksgiving Day parade, urging followers to attack crowds with trucks.
Well, the mad holiday rush is on. AAA predicting the busiest Thanksgiving travel season in nearly a decade. We always hear that, but nearly 49 million Americans are trekking 50 miles or more. The reason? Cheaper gas prices. AAA says that the average price for a gallon of gas is $2.16. Now, if you're one of the nearly 4 million people who is expected at some of the airports, including Atlanta, which is one of the busiest ones in the country, be warned of that. Plus, trains will also be packed with tickets selling out since Sunday.
Well, Old Man Winter, he's never young, right? He's an unwelcome guest this Thanksgiving. Yes. We don't want to see this guy.
Rain, wind, snow, all of that making a huge mess for millions of holiday travelers.
And senior meteorologist Janice Dean tracking the storm. Old Man Winter, so we were just talking Midwest could be a problem.
Yeah.
And I never mind it because I sit home and watch football cozy by the fire.
You know,
so many people
same
are
with that.
Are
you traveling?
No, I'm traveling. And I understand that there will be delays, you know, at a lot of different airports.
Well, definitely when you have some delays in the Midwest, that's going to cause delays across the country. So just, you know, pack your patience, as they say. Pack your patience. All right. Well, let's take a look at it. Let's deal with the temperatures right now. Warm across the central U.S. It feels a little bit warmer than it has across the Northeast because those winds are starting to taper off.
Across the west, still cool. We have another system that's going to move into the northwest over the next 24 to 48 hours. But this is the mess that we are talking about here with snow across the upper Midwest. We've got a mixture of freezing rain, sleet, and then rain over the Ohio River Valley and the Mississippi River Valley. It's kind of a messy system. It's not really compact. So, you're definitely going to see travel delays, but this is not a big whopper of a storm, which is good news. Still going to cause some delays as we head into Wednesday and Thursday across this area, the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest, parts of the Ohio River Valley. So just again, they call ahead, just check online to see how your flight is doing if you're traveling. On the roadways, not too bad. The real snowy part is going to be across the upper Midwest, the Arrowhead of Minnesota, as well as the UP of Michigan. There's your forecast precipitation. The snow mainly confined to the upper Midwest. Travel delays across the Northwest and then the Midwest area. The East Coast looks good, and then the system is going to kind of skirt towards the eastern seaboard. What's going to happen for the Thanksgiving Day parade? I think we're going to be okay. Cloudy skies, not too bad, mild temperatures, so we'll take that. Central U.S. looks clear, and then our next system moves into the West Coast, watching that. And if you can believe this, still hurricane season. We have a hurricane that's going to move into Nicaragua and Costa Rica tomorrow on Thanksgiving. Unprecedented for this time of year. It happens. You can have hurricanes any month of the year. But again, this is the tail end of the season, so this is quite rare. And we'll be watching this as well.
All right. Hurricane Otto?
Yes, Hurricane
okay.
Otto already. Still tracking these things.
Right. Thank you, Janice.
You got it.
Well, President-elect Donald Trump, heard about him? Well, he is waking up in Florida for a holiday hiatus of sorts, but no rest for the weary behind the scenes. Some brand new reports breaking overnight that Mr. Trump just tapped South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley as UN ambassador. Let's get straight to Garrett Tenney, who is in Washington, D.C. for us and standing by with that information. Good morning, Garrett.
Heather, good morning to you. This report comes from South Carolina's own Post and Courier newspaper and says an announcement is expected later today naming Governor Nikki Haley as President-elect Trump's pick for U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Now, while Fox News has not independently confirmed this report, if it is accurate, the addition of Haley to the Trump administration would certainly add a sense of diversity to his cabinet, and it would continue to ease concerns among mainstream Republicans as well. The 44-year-old governor became South Carolina's first female and minority governor when she was elected 6 years ago. And while she has little foreign policy experience, she has received a lot of praise for her handling of a number of hot-button issues in her state, including the racially charged Charleston church shootings and her subsequent push to have the Confederate flag removed from the grounds of the State House. Mr. Trump has also indicated that he is still eyeing Dr. Ben Carson to be part of his cabinet, tweeting yesterday, "I am seriously considering Dr. Ben Carson as the head of HUD. I've gotten to know him well. He's a greatly talented person who loves people." This would be a change of course for Carson, who posted on Facebook last week that he would prefer to work outside of government. Yesterday, he told Neil Cavuto, though, that the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development is just one of a number of cabinet positions that have been offered to him.
Has it been offered, sir?
We have had offers, yes.
And is it the HUD position?
I would say that was one of the offers that's on the table.
So you can tell, despite the Thanksgiving holiday and Trump being at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, this transition effort is still very much underway. Heather, Clayton?
Sure is.
All right, thanks, Garrett. Well, meanwhile, Clinton cash author Peter Schweitzer, you know him, saying President-elect Trump should let the FBI continue its investigation.
I think it's deeply disturbing. Look, he shouldn't be talking about this at all. It's not his job. I was on your program earlier this year, Megan, talking about how inappropriate it would be for President Obama to intervene in an investigation. It is equally inappropriate for a president-elect and later president, Donald Trump, to do the same. If he wants to pardon her at the tail end of an investigation, if the Department of Justice decides that they're not going to prosecute, they are fine to do that. But the FBI is undergoing an investigation now, and the president-elect should not be telling them to halt their investigation.
Yeah, Trump angering Ann Coulter, Breitbart News, thinking he's sold out. So what do you think about all this? Keep talking this morning. Use that hashtag Keep Talking. You can weigh in on our Fox and Friends first Facebook page right after the show for a live debate. and weigh in on that comment thread.
Yeah, some of his appointments, people think that he is selling out as well. Well, real life security struggle, no laughing matter for one comedian at the White House.
Yeah, Ellen DeGeneres nearly blocked from being awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom after forgetting her ID.
DeGeneres tweeting out this picture, waiting on a bench outside for an hour, she said, while officials confirmed her identity.
20 others also honored, including Tom Hanks, Robert De Niro, and Michael Jordan. It's the highest honor that a civilian can get in this country.
Yeah. Well, now to a Fox Business alert for you. Stocks surge. The markets open after another record-setting high.
It was a crazy day yesterday. Cheryl Casoni from our sister network, Fox Business, is here with where this trend is headed. Cheryl, are we going to coast through this thing through the new year?
I don't know about coasting. I would never use that to characterize Wall Street and the stock market, especially after the last decade that we've seen. But things have been pretty nice. It's been fun to be a business reporter these days. We went above 19,000 yesterday. First time in history for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and we're seeing a lot of those sectors that you would expect under a Trump administration doing well. Things like telecom, real estate, consumer discretionary. The thinking is that he's going to pull back regulation, he's going to deal with Obamacare, and he's also, of course, going to put a lot of money into infrastructure. That is making folks feel pretty darn good. Also, I want to say, with the Dow up 67 and the S&P up 4 and the Nasdaq up 17 yesterday, we can expect this to continue at least for a while. Look, it's volatile, I have to say that, but It's been nice to see these numbers, guys.
I was on with Maria Bartiromo when it first popped up above, 19,000, then it went back down, and so definitely up and down.
Up and down, but let's go for up.
Yes,
I don't know. We'll see what happens today.
Well, tell us about these hackers hitting the landmark New York City venues, including Madison Square Garden. So if you went to go see a Knicks game or Rangers game, maybe your credit card data was stolen?
I know, you go and get your fries, you get your beer, your soda, and now you're getting your credit card hacked. Thanks a lot. So yeah, hackers actually stole credit card data from some landmark venues, Madison Square Garden, including that, and they basically went for like the concession stand. So it wasn't that you ordered tickets online to go to, say, a Rangers game or a concert. It was if you went to one of, like, the Beacon Theater here in New York, MSG, if you went to the concession stand, they actually targeted the credit cards. It would have happened, and check your statements, between November 9th of 2015 and October 24th, but it's a pretty large scale hack into credit cards.
I'd still be more outraged that I paid $30 for the popcorn.
Yeah.
I know. Not cheap, I know, but it's fine.
All right, so some dangerous toys to avoid this holiday season. We always hear about this list, and another one is out.
I know. I always hate to bring these lists, but we have to, and especially when kids are involved. You want to make sure that our kids are safe. So the Consumer Product Safety Commission and others always flagging toys throughout the year, but now we have a list. As we go into the holiday season and parents are looking for their kids' toys, you want to make sure that these are not on the Christmas list for kids. Things like the Tough Treads auto carrier, the 2014 MBX 50, Tiny Trail bicycles, that made the list. The push-along motorcycle with rider, the Peanuts Flying Ace ride-on toys, and also the Bayou beanbag chairs. Things like these, they're different reasons, but it's an entire list that's been now put out because of choking hazards, batteries exploding, believe it or not, on kids' toys, toxic hazards, even noise complaints. You don't want to hurt your kids' ears. So there's a big list out there now.
Exploding
or the
batteries.
parents with those annoying toys and how loud they are.
The noise, yeah.
Hey, Cheryl, we got to ask you about that. People are angry. They spend $6 for a cup of coffee, and now they find out that their coffee is going to be $6.25.
Especially here in New York. Leave it to eagle-eyed New Yorkers to find out that Starbucks, within 48 hours of the election here in the United States, they were raising prices. Of course, they took to social media, and then Starbucks finally confirming that, yes, they said, well, we always evaluate in certain markets our prices, and we do raise them, but they did. One woman tweeted out, I thought this was pretty funny. She said, at Starbucks raised their prices starting on election day by almost 50 cents in NYC. Coincidence? I think not. So the conspiracy theorists around Starbucks is like, come on, we raise our prices. Sorry.
But are they putting more caffeine in it?
Exactly. All right, well, guys, coming up, we're going to be talking about Black Friday, all the deals,
all
names
right.
coming up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl. All right, the time is now 12 minutes after the hour. An Uber outrage. Just one day after an ISIS-inspired driver is arrested for plotting to attack Times Square, the company is now allowing ex-cons to get behind the wheel.
And dozens of stores closing their doors, as we just heard Cheryl mention, this Thanksgiving, encouraging family time. Is this a good idea? Your comments flooding in on our social media this morning.
And are you done with Tinder? Try Cinder. How the Vatican is now making it easier for you to make a confession. The wheel when a school bus filled with young children crashed
was speeding. Police in Chattanooga, Tennessee, confirming that the bus was going well over the speed limit when that happened. It was going above 30 miles per hour when it smashed into a tree, splitting in half.
He wasn't paying attention. He was going real fast. My babies came home and said that this bus driver is cussing on the bus, cussing at them, drinking, speeding.
Oh, so sad. Police say that this man, the driver, Johnson E. Walker, was known for going too fast. Just 2 months ago, he was involved in another collision while working for the school district. He had just received his bus license in April. 5 elementary school children were killed in this crash. This morning, 12 remain hospitalized, 6 of them in critical condition.
Well, prostitutes and thieves can now pick you up at your doorstep. Ride-sharing company Uber is loosening its policies for drivers in Connecticut and Rhode Island. The company says it's to help nonviolent offenders get some work. Similar regulations are already in place in New York City. Just days ago, an Uber driver was arrested in Brooklyn for planning a terror attack in Times Square.
I had not heard that he was an Uber driver. I hadn't heard that part of it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, not taking any chances, the NYPD is deploying 3,000 officers to the Thanksgiving Day parade as fears of a terror attack are growing.
Yeah, sand trucks lining the route and bomb-sniffing dogs sweeping the city as the NYPD assures the public that everyone will be safe.
And WNYW's Lisa Evers was there as police outlined their safety plan.
In Herald Square, NYPD officers from the K-9 unit are already on patrol and on the lookout for suspicious people or packages. The metal barriers are in place and the Plaza Triangle is closed off to the public.
For the parade itself, we're going to have a very large detail of cops out there that day. Over 3,000 cops will be assigned to security there. We will have 83 sand trucks out to prevent any cars from coming along the road.
For the first time ever, the NYPD's entire counterterrorism unit, equipped with long guns, will be working on Thanksgiving Day as a precaution. In another first, there will be no through traffic along the parade route.
Nowhere along the entire route will there be any cross streets. So everything is going to be closed. We're closing 42nd and 57th Street this year, which hadn't been done in the past. So there'll be no traffic coming across the route during that day.
In addition to what you see on the streets, the mayor says the NYPD will be constantly monitoring any potential threats that may arise.
We also have a huge intelligence gathering capacity. NYPD has had that for years, and we've been adding to it. What we've improved upon is the relationship with the FBI and our federal partners, which, you know, once upon a time, a few years ago, was quite fractured. Now is very, very unified and tight.
Lisa Evers, Fox 5 News.
Going to be able to watch the parade?
Yeah, I'll be here, and then we'll be right here at kickoff time, which is right at 9 or 10 in the morning. So we'll be live on Fox and Friends tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, the time now is 19 minutes after the top of the hour, and you have heard him say it time and time again.
Drain the swamp.
Who is now claiming that our president-elect's famous catchphrase is racist?
Bridging the gap, how police officers in one community are using football to help keep kids on a path to victory.
Right now, the focus is on who Trump will appoint to his cabinet. In fact, C-SPAN aired a live feed of the elevators at Trump Tower that captured potential cabinet members going up to meet Donald Trump. Did you see that? They'd even caught the moment Ted Cruz was approaching the elevator and everyone inside frantically hit the door close button. They're like, sorry, no room. Get the next one.
You got a friend in me.
Cat attacks now filtering through law enforcement across the country.
And Jackie Ibanez is here now, and she has some brand new developments for us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Heather and Clayton. Yet another horrific and disturbing reminder of how dangerous it is to protect our streets. Wayne State University K-9 officer Colin Rose, you see him right there, now out of surgery. The 29-year-old clinging to life after being shot in the head just a few blocks from the Detroit campus. A person of interest, D'Angelo Davis, taken into custody around 10 o'clock last night, ending a 3-hour manhunt. Wayne State Police, working closely with the Detroit Police Department, say Officer Rose approached a man while investigating a sting of car break-ins. Minutes later, backup arrived to find Officer Rose shot in the street.
He is a tremendous officer, very young, very proactive, one of the best K-9 officers, I think, anywhere in the Midwest or the country.
Last night's shooting coming after a string of deliberate attacks on the badge. Officers shot in Sanibel, Florida, and Gladstone, Missouri, coming after a horrific attack on a sergeant in St. Louis and the murder of a veteran detective in San Antonio. Police departments across the country now on alert for copycat shooters as the number of deadly police ambushes reaches a decade high of 20.
You look at the environment, not just here, but across this country. We had 4 officers ambushed over the weekend. This needs to stop. I really believe that a lot of what's fueling these attacks on police officers is some of the anti-police rhetoric.
Right now, Officer Rose is in critical but stable condition. We will continue to monitor this story to bring you the very latest details as they come in. Heather and Clayton.
Let's hope he survives. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jackie.
Well, to another alert for you, the NYPD deploying 3,000 officers to the Thanksgiving Day parade amid growing fears of a terror attack. In an unprecedented move, the force's entire counterterrorism unit will work on Thanksgiving. The whole unit, every cross street on the parade route will be shut down, barricaded with sand trucks, bomb-sniffing dogs also out on patrol. And ISIS magazine recently published a picture of the Thanksgiving Day parade route, urging followers to attack crowds with trucks.
Well, the mad holiday travel rush is on. AAA predicting the busiest Thanksgiving travel season in nearly a decade. Nearly 49 million Americans trekking 50 miles or more. It's all thanks to that cheap gas that we've got right now. National average about $2.16. If you're one of nearly 4 million people flying, expect some long security lines. Atlanta expected to be the busiest airport in the country this Thanksgiving. Trains also packed, with tickets selling out since Sunday. And Old Man Winter, an unwelcome guest for many this Thanksgiving. A storm set to make a mess for millions of holiday travelers. And senior meteorologist Janice Dean, the Weather Center, tracking his path. You know, Janice, we've got, Delta Airlines hub in Cincinnati?
Yep.
Which is northern Kentucky, of course, that airport. Is that going to be a problem?
Well, look, this is not a really strong system, but it could cause some travel delays. And you know what? Twitter is your best friend when it comes to tweeting at the airlines because they respond really quickly. I've had that happen before where we've had issues and I tweet them and they're like, oh, we'll help you, Miss Dean, right away. But there are the delays right now looking pretty good. A lot of greens on the map. That is the good news. But that's the storm system across the upper Midwest that's going to push across the Mississippi River Valley. Not a lot of snow, not a lot of wind, but it's just going to be nuisance weather on the roadways and in the air. The system will move across the eastern seaboard Thursday, but I think we're okay for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Just cloudy skies and mild temperatures, which is good news. Looking good for all of these big cities today: Boston, New York, D.C., Atlanta, Charlotte, but it's Chicago and Minneapolis and Salt Lake City where we're going to have to keep an eye on because if there's delays there, there's going to be delays across the country because of that ripple effect. Thanksgiving Day looking good for most. We could have some snow here or there across the northern plains as well as the northwest. And then we've got that system moving across the eastern seaboard. But for the parade, the forecast looking pretty good for Mr. Turkey here. Cloudy skies, 45, and the winds will be light. So we will get those balloons up there. And, you know, we just saw Otto because Otto's our hurricane that we are watching out there that's going to make landfall, we think, across Nicaragua and Costa Rica, which is unprecedented for Costa Rica, so we'll watch that as well. A lot of snow, and we're talking tropics as well. We've got everything in the mix. Back to you, Heather and Clayton.
That's a cornucopia.
It is a cornucopia. Very well done.
A horn of plenty?
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Happy Thanksgiving, my friends.
You too. I'm heading home tomorrow afternoon. So
enjoy.
Well, President-elect Donald Trump waking up in Florida during a holiday hiatus, but no rest for the weary behind the scenes. The brand new reports breaking overnight that Mr. Trump just tapped South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley right there as UN ambassador. So let's get straight to Garrett Tenney in Washington, D.C. So, Garrett, what do we know this morning? Is it actually confirmed?
Well, we're still working to confirm this report, but, you know, so much for taking a break for the holidays, Heather. You know, South Carolina's Post and Courier newspaper is reporting that later today, President-elect Trump is expected to name Governor Nikki Haley as his pick for U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Now, we haven't independently confirmed this report, and we're working on that, but we do know that Haley was one of a number of folks to meet with Mr. Trump last Thursday at Trump Tower, and she has been mentioned as a potential pick for other cabinet posts in the Trump administration. Now, while the 44-year-old governor has little foreign policy experience, she has received a lot of praise for her handling of a number of big issues over the last few years, including South Carolina's record flooding, the racially charged Charleston church shootings, and her push to remove the Confederate flag from the grounds of the State House. Now, Mr. Trump has also indicated he's still eyeing Dr. Ben Carson to be part of his cabinet as well, tweeting yesterday, "I am seriously considering Dr. Ben Carson as the head of HUD. I've gotten to know him well. He's a greatly talented person who loves people." This would be a change of course for Carson, who posted on Facebook last week that he'd prefer to work outside of government. Yesterday, he told Neil Cavuto that the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development is just one of a number of cabinet positions that he's been offered.
Has it been offered, sir?
We have had offers, yes.
And is it the HUD position?
I would say that was one of the offers that's on the table.
In another apparent change of course, Mr. Trump now says he will not push for the prosecution of Hillary Clinton over her email scandals or the Clinton Foundation, something that he vowed to do at nearly every rally throughout the election. Last night, his incoming chief of staff said Mr. Trump is now focused on moving forward.
I'm sure if something comes around that is some kind of, bomb that we don't know about, we'll have to take a look at it. But his point is he's looking forward to leading this country. He's not looking to, further injure the Clintons, but he's got the right attitude about leading America.
And you'll remember that there are several House investigations led by Republicans that are ongoing, and the Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus, said that Mr. Trump will allow those to go forward. Heather?
You're getting a mixed reaction to some of these appointments.
Yeah, especially on the right. Yeah. All right, thanks, Garrett.
Thank you.
You got it.
Well, while the Trump transition team takes a little bit of a break, maybe, still a lot to talk about. Who our president-elect will pick as his Secretary of State being one of those, and when he will announce that. Former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich saying that he's concerned that it might be Mitt Romney.
I would be concerned. One, I think the vast majority of Trump's supporters will initially be very unhappy and will be reminded of all the things that Romney said over the year. And two, because Romney does represent a very different viewpoint. I mean, authentically, I'm not sure whose Secretary of State he would be. And I think that's something
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think Trump would have to really think through. Romney wanted to be in President-elect Trump's job. And to what degree would Romney, once he became Secretary of State, represent himself wandering around the world? I mean, being sort of in the John Kerry tradition of let's go from 5-star hotel to 5-star hotel, having nice gourmet dinners with foreign ministers. And to what extent would he actually represent the kind of tough-minded America first policies that Trump has campaigned on?
Also, the Russia issue. How does he feel about that? Also under serious consideration for Secretary of State, of course, you've heard, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani.
Well, President-elect Donald Trump adopted several catchphrases on the campaign trail, but this one really seemed to stick.
Drain the swamp.
Hashtag.
The phrase was intended to mean eliminating corruption from Washington, but a writer from the Southern Poverty Law Center, he's saying that it's racist.
Among the people that were spreading the Drain the Swamp hashtag were avowed racists, white supremacists who exist on Twitter to harass and demean various ethnic groups.
All right, so they adopted that. It's not like it is racist on its own. The writer also suggests Donald Trump isn't doing enough to stop them from spreading violence. So he's responsible for all of them?
Yeah.
All right.
And everyone's using that phrase. I mean, Chuck Schumer was using it just the other day. So
I've used it in my backyard to drain the swamp. Right?
You have a swamp in your backyard?
Well, it gets a little water down there. You got to drain it sometimes. The time is now 42 minutes after the hour. Dozens of stores closing their doors this Thanksgiving, encouraging family time. Is this a good idea? Your comments are pouring in next.
And case closed. Will Brad and Angelina be spending Thanksgiving together? I know you're really worried about this. The FBI just put out some information on the abuse charges that the actor Pitt had been facing. We'll tell you what they said.
And we want to know, what are you thankful for this Thanksgiving holiday?
Send us your pictures and comments on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or just email them to us at friendsfirst@foxnews.com, and we will air some of them tomorrow during our show.
Shedding every color.
Welcome back. Some major retailers keeping their doors closed on Thanksgiving Day in the name of family.
Cheryl Casoni from our sister network Fox Business here now with the stores who are bucking the trend. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. You know, it is all about family this year, guys, as dozens of stores are closing on Thanksgiving this year because of, well, family time. When the Mall of America made the announcement several weeks ago it was not going to open on Thanksgiving Day this year, it started a trend in the retail industry. It's a big change from what we've seen retailers do in the past. Ask employees to come in on Turkey Day. In fact, some retailers seem to be figuring out it's good PR to not open for Thanksgiving. Listen.
At TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods, we are closed on Thanksgiving because family time comes first. Bring back the holidays.
Yeah, in fact, the list this year of stores that are jumping on the stay-at-home with your family bandwagon. Look at this. Costco, Nordstrom, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Cabela's, GameStop, Dillard's, Hobby Lobby, Staples, even Sam's Club. Better get the groceries in. But while those stores say stay home, other big name retailers like Walmart, Target, and Best Buy will be open on Thanksgiving Day. So head to the Fox & Friends First website for a complete list of Thanksgiving Day shopping options. And of course, we're going to tell you where and when you can hit the ground for Black Friday. And guys, I will be out there right in the middle of it for you on Friday morning.
I know you're excited about that, Cheryl.
Oh boy.
For sure.
And tomorrow on Fox & Friends, I'm going to have some great gadgets for Black Friday as well. There's like hundreds of dollars off some of these things. I'll show them to you.
One of the other commercials that I really like, and I mentioned this before, is be thankful for what you already have.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you don't need to go buy stuff, right? Sure.
Thank you. Well, your responses have, of course, been pouring in on this one. Tony on Facebook writes, stores should be closed, but more importantly, people should value the family time more than a sale or anything for that matter. Make it count.
Jenny on Facebook says, I work in retail, and this is such a blessing. More businesses should do this. Family should be way more important than the almighty dollar.
And finally, Lee on Twitter writes, part of the problem is that a large number of employees who need the money may not get paid if the stores are closed.
Well, the time now is 48 minutes past the hour. Well, here's a look for what's coming up on Fox & Friends this morning.
And I do believe there's somebody cooking in the kitchen, Abby. Abby Huntsman, live for us in my home state of North Carolina. Jumbo's Breakfast and Lunch House. Is that where you are, Abby?
At another diner?
We're at Jimbo's. Heather, you're right. I've never been to North Carolina. We're in Wilmington. It is the cutest town. I absolutely love it here. I'm here with Jimbo, who runs this place. He moved here 40 years ago, and he never left. He opened this diner. It's been around for 40 years. So we're going to be here all morning from 6 to 9 for Fox & Friends, talking politics, talking about why this is such an important state and why Mr. Trump ultimately won. We're also eating home fries. That is what Jimbo's is famous for. And I'm letting him sit down for a minute. I'm going to serve him some coffee.
Good for you.
So if you're in this area, please come by and see us.
You know, they still don't have a governor in North Carolina. Still talking about that.
And Abby, you're fantastic at, I mean, really learning all the skills behind
the grill.
You know
what, I try, guys. They're already putting me to work, and it's, 5:50 in the morning.
Right.
So.
Thanks, Abby. We'll see you in about 12 minutes.
But we're not done yet. We will join you right after a break. So stick around. Travelers are expected to hit the road, hit the skies, hop on a train. The Great Escape is underway.
Yeah, travel this Thanksgiving expect to be the busiest in nearly a decade. Liz Dahlem from WNYW is live inside LaGuardia Airport. Liz, how's it looking so far this morning?
Pretty good. Good morning to you, Clayton and Heather. The lines are not so bad here in LaGuardia. A little busier than a normal morning, but again, looking at the American Airlines terminal, not too shabby. People coming in and out rather quickly, but we are going to see a major increase in travel across the country this year. 48.7 million people will travel 50 miles or more to their holiday destination. That's a high number of travelers, the highest we've seen since 2007, according to AAA. We're going to see a lot of people taking to the skies this Thanksgiving holiday, so make sure you're prepared for some longer security lines and congestion at the airports. Traffic on the roads is also expected to be heavy this year due to really low gas prices. The average price at the pump is $2.16 per gallon. Avoiding the roads altogether may be your best bet, but it could be tough to get your hands on a train ticket. We're told that Amtrak has been selling out to destinations all over the country. And AAA actually put out some interesting data earlier this morning, sort of noting the most traveled destinations during this Thanksgiving holiday. Las Vegas coming in at number 1, New York City trailing to number 5 on that list. That's the latest live from LaGuardia this morning. I'll send things back to you guys in the studio.
Awesome. Early flights. Thanks, Liz.
I'll be headed to LaGuardia tomorrow. Well, caught for the very first time Madonna song, my attempt. Madonna's 16-year-old son, Rocco Ritchie, busted with pot. The teenager arrested in London for having a stash of marijuana. A neighbor's calling the cops after seeing him smoking with a friend outside his house. Ritchie was bailed out and will have to attend workshops since it is his first offense.
And case closed, Brad Pitt is cleared in a child abuse investigation. The FBI inquiry coming about after an incident with his son Maddox on a jet. But investigators found no signs of abuse. This as Pitt and Angelina Jolie remain in the midst of an ugly legal battle for custody of their 6 children.
Well, the time now is about 6 minutes until the top of the hour. And imagine your door flying wide open as you're driving down the highway. Well, the massive recall that you do need to know about before you get behind that wheel this morning.
And on the run, the bull who tried to escape the slaughterhouse. Did he make it?
I hope.
It is 58 minutes now past the hour. Here's what you need to know before you leave the house this morning. It's sentencing day for an Ohio man who wanted to behead an American soldier and attack a police station. 22-year-old Munir Abdulkader faces 25 years behind bars. Toyota recalling nearly 750,000 Sienna minivans over concerns that the doors could open while driving. You don't want that. The recall extending to model years 2011 through 2016. Toyota will notify drivers with a fix by mid-January. And bad news as we head into the holiday shopping season. 250 pilots who deliver for Amazon and DHL are on strike. The company's trying to get a court order to force them back to work.
Time now for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Up first, the good. Fat Boy the cat safely back on the ground after being stuck on top of a utility pole for 9 days. Workers in California climbing the 45-foot pole to get him. And the bad, Hollywood-style heist in New York City. Crooks caught on camera walking into a store, pulling a gun on employees, smashing glass cases to steal $300,000 in watches. And finally, the ugly, a daring escape. A bull running wild on the streets of Philadelphia after breaking free from a slaughterhouse, wreaking havoc on the highway.
Fox and Friends is up next.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, my word. We're close to Thanksgiving. This is so exciting. We are thankful for that. Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 23rd, 2016. I'm Ainsley Earhart. A holiday hiatus. The Trump transition team taking a Thanksgiving break. This as rumors are swirling about a brand new position for South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. Y'all hear that?
Where will she land? Meanwhile, and just 2 weeks after getting elected President of the United States, Donald Trump sends Wall Street soaring to an all-time high. Looked at the New York Times front page, didn't see it there, and don't expect the legacy media to cover it that way at all either.
And is this the future member of President Trump's cabinet? Could it be? That is Governor
Vanilla
Rick
Ice?
Perry, yes, who has really gotten caught up since Dancing with the Stars. He got eliminated, but you never get the dance out of you, Steve. You know that.
I do.
The governor, could he be having a new job in the cabinet with his hat on backwards? Would Donald Trump allow that? Let me just remind you, it is Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and you're with friends.
I know we're all thinking about turkey for tomorrow, but right now let's think about hamburgers. Johnny Rockets and Nationwide Chain have set up on our closet today to celebrate their 30th anniversary on this National Jukebox Day.
That is so adorable.
I have a problem with Johnny Rockets. My family cannot walk by that store without going in.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, they absolutely love it.
Roberts, that's good for them. It's bad for your wallet.
Right, absolutely. No, but it's so cheap and affordable, and boy, can they dance. Reminds me of me in my heyday.
So I guess there's really nothing the matter with Johnny Rockets.
Yes, I was being sarcastic.
Can you do that? Are you going to be dancing with them?
If I get my way, if there's enough time in the show, but a lot of times I go to dance and the show's over.
I will buy you Johnny Rockets for the rest of the year if you get out there and dance.
Okay, so they are dancing.
We're running out of time already.
They are dancing here on the plaza at the diner, here at Johnny Rockets, the Midtown location. Meanwhile, let's go down to Jimbo's Diner in Wilmington, North Carolina, where Abby Huntsman has nobody to dance with.
I don't have anyone to dance with, but you know what? I do have some friends this morning. They're up early with us. We're here in Wilmington, North Carolina at Jimbo's. This place has been around for 40 years. We're talking some politics. They're up early with us. We're talking Thanksgiving. What are you going to be talking about at the Thanksgiving table? So if you're in this area, come join us from 6 to 9. But they're already putting me to work. I'm already serving coffee this morning, guys.
Oh, that's
Good
fantastic.
morning.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
How are ya?
Fantastic.
We want to see you dancing too. We have so much to celebrate because it's Thanksgiving.
We do indeed.
I like the outfit, by the way.
Thank you very much. Listen, I got right after the show. I got to go get the turkey. Then we're going to start buying some stuff and cooking some things. Let's just hurry up and get this show over with.
I don't go to the store. I just grab my gun and go in the woods. And I just, a lot of times I don't come back.
That's great. Right? Miles Standish. All right. Meanwhile, on this day before the big holiday, Donald Trump arrived for his Thanksgiving getaway last night at Palm Beach Airport. There he is in the spot shadow right there, PBI, walking down from his 757. Then he was whisked away via motorcade to Mar-a-Lago, where he's going to spend the holiday with his family.
Does the C-SPAN camera stay on the elevated doors? I'm not really sure if the president-elect is not there. There is a lot of movement in the Trump transition team. It looks like they have named a UN ambassador to the United Nations, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, and it is the governor of South Carolina.
Yeah, Nikki Haley, the great governor of my state, South Carolina. We'll be switching places today. I'm going down there. I guess she's moving up to New York, right? This is not, it's not necessarily been confirmed. This is what the Post and Courier, which is the Charleston newspaper down in South Carolina, is reporting this morning, and apparently there's going to be an announcement this morning.
Fantastic. Of course, during the run-up to figuring out who exactly Donald Trump was going to select as his vice president, Nikki Haley was mentioned at that point. She famously, of course, took down the Confederate flag from the State House grounds in South Carolina.
After the Charleston shootings.
After the Charleston shootings, which you covered, she was given kudos for her, the way she was able to handle that. And then there were some historic floods about 4 months later. Okay, so if you're keeping a track of who are getting all these jobs, you got to be wondering, okay, if she's UN ambassador, have they figured out yet who Secretary of State is? The answer is maybe. They just haven't told us yet.
Yeah, there are rumors swirling that it could be Mitt Romney, at least that he's feeling that. He's leaning more toward Mitt Romney.
It is Donald Trump that seems to want Mitt Romney. It's the family that doesn't. They have queued up, evidently. I talked to one Trump insider who's on the transition team, and they said, Dad, before you
this
actually...
would be a child.
Right, no, it wasn't him. They said that they witnessed this. They said, take a look at his 13-minute rant against you. How do you want to deal with this? And evidently, Donald Trump, the president-elect, is not that disturbed by the fact that he even put somebody up in Utah to run against him, McMillan, and that guy could have destroyed his chances of winning.
If he chooses him, it just shows, all right, I'm going to choose who I think is best, despite I'm going to put the differences aside.
Right.
But a lot of people do believe that he should be loyal to the people that were loyal to him. And I think Newt Gingrich is one of those, because he has said, I don't want Mitt Romney to get the position. I have 20 other people that I would like to have, and he's going to be on the show. We'll talk to him later.
He would prefer Rudy. Nonetheless, it comes down to, you know, Donald Trump's a businessman. He's trying to put together an all-star team. Kellyanne Conway was on the network last night, and she said ultimately her boss, Mr. T, is looking for somebody who can do the job.
In terms of Governor Romney, I think the Secretary of State position is such that, and all the cabinet positions, you have to be qualified and capable, number one. Number two, you have to be loyal to what President-elect Trump has said his vision of the world and his agenda is for those first 100 days.
I'm a huge Mitt Romney fan. He's one of the nicest people, the most well-rounded people, unbelievable dad.
He just
and
went off the reservation in the campaign.
However, if you're looking for a Secretary of State that is a lot like what Donald Trump is, you're better off with Rudy or Ambassador Bolton. That's the toughness that you have out there, because they are they're like-minded with the Donald Trump that we saw campaigning, as opposed to Mitt Romney. But Mitt Romney's got the international experience, international business acumen, a lot of the international contacts, and he certainly got a lot of international respect that would give a lot of the world a sense that maybe Donald Trump won't be as different and as they suspect.
The benefit of him, and I don't really know, I don't know how I feel about him being in that position, but the benefit of him is he's a multimillionaire. He's done really well in business, so he could help the country with that regard. He's very, what's the word when you're just
moderate?
He is moderate, but he's He's not as bombastic. He's, what's the word I'm looking for? Even-tempered, yes. And also, he might bring the Jeb Bushes into the White House, or them to come around and support Donald Trump.
Ultimately,
I wouldn't hold your breath on that, though. The last part.
Listen, you probably wouldn't have held your breath for Mitt Romney a week ago, but here he is. So anyway, it's up to Donald Trump, and we should know in a couple days. Meanwhile, if you were watching the news channel yesterday at 4 o'clock, the big news story was that the Dow Jones Industrial Average finished above 19,000 for the first time in history. Of course, there's an uptick in corporate earnings, higher oil prices, and you've got to admit there is optimism, the experts say, about Donald Trump's election victory. And their optimistic investors are that Donald Trump will loosen regulations, stimulate infrastructure spending, and cut
Steve,
taxes.
what's incredible about this is since he took office.
Right. It has gone up.
Yeah, look, November 8th, he takes office, and the
Or
Dow
since he was elected, he hasn't taken office yet.
Well, you're true, but it has dipped, and then it went soaring up. And the reason is, a lot of it is because they believe that tax reform is just around the corner. They believe that drilling and using our natural resources is straight ahead. They believe he's going to rescind a lot of the regulations that have hamstrung a lot of the energy industry, and they also get the sense that Dodd-Frank's going to be reformed or replaced.
Changed. Exactly. So history was made yesterday, and so you would figure that since Wall Street is in New York City, the New York Times would obviously cover that, right? I cannot find it on well, let's see. No, I can't really see it anywhere there. Instead, they're talking about Donald Trump promotes brand, softens views, drops vows, hints of reversal likely to come after Obama push for clemency. You would think they would cover that.
Not really. But yesterday, the New York Times did get the president-elect to walk in there after he initially said, I'm not going, then I am going. And it's just a fascinating look at what his policies are. And I just don't understand in the big picture why he is trying to win the New York Times over. I think it's going to be a fruitless expedition.
Apparently, yesterday, because it was on, it was off, it was on, it was off. According to the New York Times, apparently, the chief of staff for the White House, incoming, Reince Priebus apparently gave Donald Trump erroneous information several times, talking about how the New York Times had changed the parameters of the interview and whatnot. Turns out that was not accurate, and ultimately they did do the interview. Although what was interesting about
Who told you that the Reince Priebus gave bad information? I didn't know.
That's in the New York Times.
I read that too.
Yeah, Reince Priebus? I would like to hear Reince Priebus on that.
It said it was erroneous information. But just to show you how classy it was at the New York Times, as Donald Trump left, he got booed.
Right. But,
Booed
you know,
by
Steve,
who?
it looks like
people in the atrium at the New York Times.
Seriously?
But it was booed, but yet there was some cheers there because he did wave to them as he was leaving. But in New York City, 85% of the people did not vote for him. Most of them are picketing out by the tower.
Right. Like my folks down in South Carolina, a lot of my friends can't believe what happened in the Hamilton play. They're not going to go see the play. Remember, you were like, it's not going to hurt ticket sales. Oh, yeah, they're really mad about that. They're not going to go see the play. And up here in New York, it's a totally different story.
It is indeed. All right. It is 11 minutes now after the top of the hour on this day before Thanksgiving, and it's time now for the news.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're up to a great day. We start right now with a Fox News alert and a tragedy to bring you out of Michigan this morning. Another horrific and disturbing attack to tell you about on law enforcement. And today it is leaving departments across the country on high alert for copycat shooters. Wayne State University K-9 officer Colin Rhodes is clinging to life after this hour after he was shot in the head just blocks from the Detroit campus. The 29-year-old was investigating car break-ins when he was attacked by a man in the street. A person of interest, D'Angelo Davis, taken into custody about 10 p.m. last night, and that ended a 3-hour manhunt.
Look at the environment, not just here, but across this country. We had 4 officers ambushed over the weekend. This needs to stop. I really believe that a lot of what's fueling these attacks on police officers is some of the anti-police rhetoric.
Well, right now, Officer Rose is out of surgery and in critical but stable condition. A school bus driver allegedly screamed, "Are you ready to die?" before crashing that bus, killing 5 children on board. That's according to the mother of 3 children who were on that Chattanooga bus. Police confirming the driver was going well above the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit when that bus smashed into a tree and split in half.
He wasn't paying attention. He was going real fast.
My babies came home
and said that this bus driver is cussing on the bus, cussing at them, drinking, speeding.
So heartbreaking. Police say that this driver, Jonathan Walker, was involved in another collision just 2 months ago. He had gotten his bus license in April. 12 children remain hospitalized this morning, and we are praying for those kids. Well, in just a few hours, the man who admits to plotting terror attacks against our military and police will be sentenced to prison. The 22-year-old from Ohio wanted to behead an American service member and then launch a homicide attack on a Cincinnati police station, all in the name of ISIS. He was monitored closely by the FBI and arrested moments after he bought an automatic rifle. That man now faces 25 years behind bars. And those are your headlines. I'll see you back here soon. Very busy day. Thanks.
Very busy. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, do you know what your kids are being assigned as homework? Protesting Donald Trump. That's one of the assignments. Details coming up straight ahead.
Can't make it up. Is Hillary Clinton off the hook? President-elect Donald Trump's transition team says there are no plans to pursue charges. So what does that mean for the current investigations? James Rosen is live next.
You can get it wrong and still you think that it's all